Hey guys, so last week we talked all about misalignment. I wanted to go a little bit deeper into this topic so that you have more of a solid foundation. So today I want to talk about here is why you might be misaligned but not even know it. So let's dive in. Hey guys, it is Ashley from theawakenedstate.net. Today we are talking all about misalignment. So last week I talked a ton about why is alignment important for spiritual awakening. So if you didn't watch that video and you're having a spiritual awakening, I highly recommend you also binge that video because it goes a ton into the details. So let's talk about why you could be misaligned but not even know it. Because here's the thing, alignment versus misalignment can show up in some very sneaky ways. So I wanted to talk about that today specifically, and most importantly, so you can have a broader sense of awareness on how misalignment can show up in our lives in ways that we might not even be conscious to. And that's the crazy part. So what is misalignment? So giving you a recap, if you didn't go watch that video, here's your recap. Alignment is the pathway of least resistance. So misalignment is the path of resistance. I mean, there's no way to sugarcoat this, okay? So alignment is often the path of least resistance, and misalignment is the path of resistance. It's the path of pushing and pulling. It's the pathway of trying to push shit up a hill. Essentially, misalignment feels awful in our bodies. It feels heavy. It feels draining. It feels low. It feels like you're really trying to justify the struggle. It feels like it's heavy and like bloaty, and it feels just dense in your body. You will know when you're misaligned because it feels very much like a ton of discomfort, emotional triggers, and as a result, you might feel you just really might not have a good day. Let's just put it that way. So misalignment will feel like you're purposely doing something harder than what it actually is. So what is resistance? Resistance is essentially negative emotion. It's resisting our natural alignment. Resistance feels like a negative emotion in our body because we're resisting our natural alignment, which is harmonic resonance. So I like to say, and this is my own personal way of really figuring how to understand the polarity of this, is alignment feels like harmonic resonance in music. So if you think about music, okay, when you think about music, there's harmony, resonance, and then there's disharmony, which is dissonance. So when you have dissonance on a keyboard, it sounds like it doesn't sound good. So harmony is like melodic. It's it feels harmonic. We are the same way. We have harmony and we have disharmony. We have cognitive dissonance and we have resonance. Cognitive resonance, cognitive dissonance. Misalignment is cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance feels like two conflicting thoughts in our brain competing to basically become a belief. It feels like we have two conflicting thoughts going on in our mind, and we can't figure out which thought is the right thought because it feels misaligned. We literally are misaligned vibrationally, energetically, in a form of like frequency. So misalignment is literally feeling like a misaligned frequency in our body. Pretty cool. So let's get back on point. So how do we know we're misaligned and not even know it? Here are the 5 common ways you can be misaligned and not even know it. Number 1 is self-sabotage. Self-sabotage is the most sneakiest way you can be misaligned. Self-sabotage presents itself as believing that everything is fine when it is indeed not fine. It's a form of self-denial, and it is also a form of protection. It often presents itself as always like resisting and deflecting what you want. It literally presents itself as excuses, procrastination, and inevitably holding yourself back. So when you think of self-sabotage, it's kind of like, I can give you so many examples. Oh my gosh. I have really overcome my own self-sabotage. That was a huge struggle for me. So I can give you a really good one. So when it comes to self-sabotage, it can be literally like you want to start a YouTube channel, but you have 20 excuses as to why you can't do it. You have 20 reasons why it's impossible for you to get on camera. You have a million excuses in your brain of overthinking and overanalyzing just to fucking hit the goddamn button to hit record. And you still don't do it. You're procrastinating, you're complaining, you're in excuses, you're deflecting, you're in all of these holding patterns that say this is not safe for me to do. So I'm not going to do it. And as a result, it's a fear of change. Self-sabotage is one of the most trickiest spaces to navigate because it makes us feel like we're kind of crazy. Like we want to do the things, but everything in our brain is saying no. No way. No way in hell we're doing that. I am terrified of doing that. There's no way in hell you're getting me to do this. And as a result, we self-sabotage because we don't feel safe with our desire as a result. So it can look like my hair looks awful today. So I am not recording a video. This lighting is terrible. There's so much shadow in this video. I cannot hit publish. I have to rearrange my entire desk. I have to do all of these things as I rearrange my desk today. As I have to do all of this stuff, and the kids are screaming in the background, and there's no way I have time between nap time, and there's no way that I have time to do this, and blah, 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 blah. That was literally how I felt every single time I went to make a video. I was in a place of self-sabotage. You can apply this to anything. So number one, self-sabotage. It's where we honestly, at our core, don't believe we are good enough or worthy. Number two is imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome, not seeing your own inner genius and deflecting it as self-rejection. Deflecting it as not seeing yourself as good enough or worthy or deserving. Essentially, imposter syndrome is literally something that can make you stop yourself from going after your dreams. It can hold you in a place of mental hostage in your mind where you don't see your own genius. You don't feel your own creativity. You don't step into your own authentic self. Imposter syndrome can hold you back so much because it essentially stops you from seeing how fucking incredible and amazing you are. As a result from that, you are living in a space of self-rejection. And as a result, you don't accept your own genius. You don't accept your own intuitive gifts. You don't accept your own intuitive self, your own personal, authentic self. Your desires, your dreams, your creativity, your visions. And as a result, you live in a space of imposter syndrome where you never feel enough, where you're always second guessing yourself, where you're always questioning your own worth, your own genius, your own value, your own sense of who you are. Oh, I get really heated about imposter syndrome. As a result, you will hold yourself back. And it creates misalignment in your life because if you don't feel worthy and you don't feel good enough and you don't feel deserving, you're going to deflect what you want. You're going to deflect what you desire to have. You're going to deflect moving into your creative genius zone, which will allow you to step into alignment. I think I should just stop here. We could create a whole video on that. What's number 3? Number 3 is self-doubt. Self-doubt is where you are not able to see what needs to be seen. When we live in a space of doubting ourselves, criticizing ourselves, judging ourselves, and doubting our intuition by overthinking, second guessing, overanalyzing, being too caught up in our heads, I've said this a million times, we live in a place of self-doubt and we cannot see clearly. We are kind of like, it's like we have a fuzzy GPS system because we're in too much doubt that we can't perceive clearly. And as a result, it makes us overthink, overanalyze, overcritique. We can't get into the flow state. We get lost in beta. We're overanalyzing. We're overcritiquing. We're in perfectionism. We're like in this space in our mind where it's like, coulda, shoulda, woulda, I don't know. And as a result, that self-doubt keeps you from manifesting. It keeps you from healing, and it keeps you from receiving. So that misalignment of self-doubt will create so much overthinking, overanalyzing that it puts you too much in your head that you can't create the mind-body connection. Self-doubt is a huge thing to overcome, and it teaches you so much about the mind-body connection because when you're tuned in, tapped onto your intuition, self-doubt doesn't exist anymore because you're in your intuition. You're no longer doubting yourself. You're trusting yourself. The hugest shift with self-doubt is to learn to trust yourself. 100%. Number 4 is justification of the struggle. Justification of the struggle. Okay? Justification of the pain story. Justification of the sacrifice. This one's really sneaky. It can show up where we make things harder than what they are. We create too much hard work to the point where we don't receive. We can justify our healing journey to the point where we deflect healing. I've seen this happen where we justify that we're not worthy enough to heal because of the pain. And as a result, we deflect the real healing we need. And as a result from that, we don't fully heal. And what inevitably happens in this misalignment habit is we have essentially justified the sacrifice, the self-sacrifice. We don't believe we're worthy of healing or being on the other side. As a result, we don't believe that we're worthy of fully stepping into that place of emotional empowerment. And as a result, we don't fully acknowledge that we need to heal. We're deflecting the healing. So justification of our pain story is essentially we have been hurt so much that we don't believe we can heal. This one, it makes me the most sad because it shows us that when we're continuously trying to justify the struggle, we only see from the level of the problem. And as only seeing from the level of the problem, we're constantly in a troubleshooting mode trying to solve the problem. So we're constantly in fixer mode. So this gets sneaky because it kind of keeps you in this loop of trying to troubleshoot a problem. And as a result from that, you keep trying to justify that the sacrifice is required, that the pain is required, that essentially the feelings that you're feeling are required, but really you're just troubleshooting instead of choosing to be on the other side. And as a result from that, it's kind of like a self-worth issue, but it's also emotional healing. And I do believe, I could create a whole series on this one, but it's really about stepping into emotional healing. When we step out of justifying our pain, we can finally step into healing. like real healing. All right, number 5 is lack. Lack is probably the most common one, but it is actually really, really a huge indicator of when you're misaligned. Every time I have a lack thought, I'm like, shit, I'm misaligned. It's so easy to pinpoint because when we're in a lack mindset versus an abundance mindset, it usually means there's something internally going on that is misaligned. 100%. So understanding lack mindset is a huge, huge way to understand misalignment, because misalignment is rooted in a lack mindset. Because at the core root of who we are, when we feel misaligned, it's kind of like we feel empty. It's kind of like something's missing that needs replenished and refilled. So lack will show up in very sneaky ways of, but there's never enough. There's never enough coffee. That is so fucking expensive. We never have enough of that. I don't feel enough. I don't feel like a good enough mom today. I don't feel like I'm good enough at my job. I don't feel like I'm good enough with this content. I don't feel enough. And God, we never have enough groceries. How come he never does this? Why is this happening? And so it goes on this reel in your head where lack mindset is more than just running out of physical things. It makes you feel not enough. And as a result, you attract things that are not enough. And as a result from that, it's a full indicator of where there's misalignment. Because if you're seeing lack, you're feeling lack, you're being lack, there's misalignment. And as a result from that, you can start to see that if I feel misaligned and I am misaligned, then there's something going on internally that needs to be done. And as a result, lack mindset will present itself as scarcity mindset. And I have a whole theory on this. I do believe lack mindset came from the Great Depression era, and it was translated down to us. Because if you think about it, in the Great Depression era, they were literally out of food. They were literally out of money. They were literally in a scarcity mindset. But we're still inheriting that. And we're still coming at that place. We're still repeating history about that. And it's up to us to decide differently, to embrace an abundance mindset, to look at life differently from a place of, but there is always enough. There's always enough grass. There's always enough groceries. There's always enough money. There's always more than enough trees. There's always more than enough people. There's always more than enough. I am always more than enough as I am. When we take into consideration this new view of how we can change the dial on lack mindset and start to see from the lens of abundance, abundance is more than just money. Abundance is a mentality. It's a mentality of seeing the world. The more you see from a lens of abundance, the stronger you will feel and attract abundance with your sense of authenticity, with your career, with your money, with your food, with your love, everything. And as a result, we can move away from those misaligned concepts and start to bring more alignment back into our lives. And so what I've learned over the years is the easiest ways to start to become more aware of the sneaky ways that misalignment happens is to literally start questioning it. Why am I in lack mindset? Why is this coming up for me? And to start questioning that ego. And inevitably, when you start to question the ego, you can start to see differently. And as a result, you begin to heal. So if you'd like more information on these topics, we'll be diving heavily into them in the Alignment Reset Challenge. It is fully open. If you are interested in enrolling this week, I'll leave those links down below for you. The Alignment Reset Challenge is a 21-day mindset reset where we focus heavily on the different ways you can personally access your own alignment from a place of energy healing and manifestation and energy management. So as a result, you have a 21-day challenge where you go into the depths of how to change your mindset to accompany your energetic healing journey. And it's a fun time. So if you are interested in joining, or enrolling. I will leave those links down below for you. If you have any top questions on these topics and you would like to share your biggest soul takeaway, please leave them down below, and I'll see you guys next time.